So, welcome back to Risa, everybody. This is the every few weeks game of the USS Reliant that we're recording. My name's John. I'm telling the story in collaboration with a bunch of other Foundry authors who have ideas that, this is my way of continuing the Foundry, everybody. That's my admission. There are ideas out there that people have, and if we can have the crew of this ship encounter them, that makes me super happy. On Risa, there has been a very unfortunate death that the captain of the vessel, the USS Reliant, Marcus Graves, that's Duncan.
Hello.
Has been accused of, and his senior staff will have to, over the next few hours, it won't all happen tonight, it won't all happen in this recording, rather, over the next few hours, we'll have to find a way to clear his name and find out who the true murderer of everyone's favorite hide-and-go-seek friend, Pavyl, is. That senior staff is the executive officer, Elenis Kendra.
Hello, everybody.
See, I didn't say played by because you go by the same name. We also have the ship's pilot and head of the xenobiology division in the sciences, Kara Junrani, the third or fourth, not very many Ibi are in Starfleet, but Kara is the third or fourth one.
Put the Ibi in charge of it, said no one ever.
The chief science officer is played by longtime Foundry author Cass Modian. That's Quentin Reynolds.
I'm still off somewhere doing science to something.
Yes, you're on planet, though. We also tonight have the ship's medical staff, which are definitely going to come in handy in an investigation of a murder. Dr. Eli O'Connor, the chief medical officer.
That is I.
And Chaplain Waitley, who is the ship's counselor, but also serves as a spiritual sounding board and head of an all faiths chapel on board for members of Starfleet that come from other races. Dr. O'Connor is played by a good friend of ours, Nick. He just said hello. And Chaplain Waitley is played by the grumpy old Nord, who streams STO content multiple times a week. Often fun to hang out and chat with people. So, Chaplain Waitley.
Greetings and salutations.
And so, last time the game ended with Marcus Graves, the ship's captain, waking up after having a long and actually very stimulating conversation with a blonde Orion woman. She had one or two? I can't remember other Orions with her. I think it was one, and it was a guy.
There was a Klingon at the bar.
There was a Klingon at the bar. So he was definitely with her. There's no there. You can definitely. I'll give you that investigation roll, Marcus, without having to make it. That was pretty obvious. They may have come in at separate times, but he was definitely there to watch her back for whatever reason.
Yeah, so Graves is kind of suspecting that as he's processing what's happening. So as far as everything else goes, I mean, he's going to be pretty in the dark with just like, I just passed out at a restaurant, and then my hands are covered in blood, and there was a knife or a weapon there, and then Lieutenant Tardigrade was looking at me really sad.
Yes, and a moment later, right, and we're picking up on the captain right where we left off with Rysian security, which I want you to remember what Risa looked like in the Vanessa Williams episode in the first season of TNG. When they were all running around in like togas and like sheets wrapped around their middle, and so you see this Rysian security. Oh, hey, we have an Oakley. Oakley is a text player of ours who plays a minor character on board the ship, but a very cool one. Oakley, who is why am I blanking on what they're called? Exocomp, who is an exocomp that was left on board the ship during construction. So these guys who come are like, don't want to make any kind of scene. You're a Starfleet officer. I hope that you would understand the need to find our way to a private room upstairs to discuss what has been found here. And you see a couple of younger Rysians, a male and a male. They're not like teenagers, but they're young adults. There's the word. There's the description I'm looking for. A blonde hair, blue-eyed, like hyper, like not hyper muscular, more like Bruce Lee muscular. Lanky, tall fellow, and of course he's got the Rysian disc, the golden Rysian disc on his forehead, and a young woman with kind of long, sort of really light brown or super dirty blonde hair that is pulled back in a ponytail, and they look like they're waiting. What they have in their hands, you would guess they're waiting to clean up the blood quickly. And there's another guy dressed like the two Rysian security who is just like he's not really directing people, but he's kind of blocking the way to this bar along the boardwalks. He's just standing there, and you can see that these two guys are like, they want to go up. They're like, can we go upstairs? Would you like us to contact anyone from your ship?
Wait, so this is to Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, two Rysian security guards, and I just described that there's a third one, but he's out on the docks, making sure nobody comes down this way just by kind of being there, and there are two people waiting to clean up the blood. And so these two security guards are like, would you like us to contact anyone on your ship?
So everyone on the senior crew is on Risa. So for anyone on the ship, it's going to be the other characters. You're having a discussion on who would be the jack.
He says any of your staff.
Oh, okay. Definitely getting Alennis and Waitley in on this.
All right.
Although the phrasing would be to call Lieutenant Lentis Kendra and Chaplain Waitley.
We'll make sure that they are able to be there before we begin any questioning.
Also, one other person?
Yes?
Dr. Eli O'Connor.
Absolutely.
Also, one other person? Dr. Quentin Reynolds as well.
Certainly, but you will have to wait on speaking to them all, but they can all be present for the questions we have for you. And they escort you into the Risa resort, and it's beautiful. There's a beautiful Dabo table with that holographic Lita that Quark Industries put out all those years ago. Large kiosks of varying commodities from across the quadrants, and across at least the two quadrants, the alpha and beta quadrants. And they one of the security the one out on the docks doesn't come in with you, and when you get inside, one of them they stop at like at these elevators around the back of the lobby with you, and one of them says, "Do you have a preferred beverage?"
I'll just take some.
Just take what?
I'll just take some water.
Very well. And he heads off, and one of them goes up. This guard is probably, how tall is Marcus? About 6 feet tall or so.
I'd go 6'4".
6'4". Okay, so Marcus has about an inch on this guy. But an inch or two even on this guy. He's one of those like 6'2", 180 pound, like you can see that he's all like he's on their security staff for a reason. He's probably mostly trained to restrain people from the way that he's he doesn't appear to be armed in any visible way to you.
There's a way that Marcus is thinking about this security officer.
Mm-hmm.
Lifeguard.
Pretty much. That's kind of, there is certainly that kind of feel to him, and he takes you up to a comfortable room. It's not yours. It is an unmarked room that doesn't have a bed in it. It just has a variety of furniture in it. And they say, he gets you hear a chirping sound, and he takes a communicator from within the folds of his, I hesitate to call it a tunic, it's a toga, and he says, and he puts it up right next to his ear. It's just like a small little square with very obvious circuitry on it. He puts it up next to his ear, and he says, your staff has been contacted. And all of the rest of you, we switch scene to Quentin and Elenis. You are still out on the island at this point. The two of you have found what you found in the cave last week, right? Which was traces of disruptor fire and traces of epos. Were in this cave. There was no doubt. And it wasn't a lot of disruptor fire. I'm going to go ahead and clarify that for you, Quentin, because I'm pretty certain you scanned what type of energy you detected, on the wall. It was not a lot of disruptor fire. It was very little, in fact. And as you leave the cave, you both get a message transferred through the ship from Risian security, and you also have your news feed. You can your communicators going off, and your Risian news reader is also blinking news story, blinking that there's a new thing to read. So you're walking out of the cave, the two of you. Do you want to read the news story first, or do you want to check? I'm guessing you check your communicators first, right?
Yeah, check my communicators. Well, wasn't I talking to Oakley when he actually walked in on Marcus? I can't remember. I thought I was.
I thought the two of you were still on planet. I could be right. It's been 3 weeks.
No, we were on the planet, but I mean by communicator. I had told him to go sober up Larissa and Kara, and then I told him to go looking for Marcus. And I can't remember if I was talking to him on the communicator when he stumbled on Marcus or not.
From my recollection, Lieutenant Tardigrade in that scene had all of his attention on Marcus when he found him. So he was not on the communicator as far as I can recall.
Okay. But I would have been waiting to hear back from Tardigrade.
You don't hear back from Tardigrade. Instead, the two of you, Chaplain Waitley, Dr. O'Connor, you all get a communication from the ship, which is a relay up from the Rysian security force. So your first exposure to the fact of, well, Chaplain Waitley, you know somebody died, and you and the two people who discovered the body basically best relations right now is trying to make your stay and theirs, like they're offering you the moon. Because you were present when the body was found.
Wait. Literally the moon, or what?
No, not literally the moon, but they're just like, if there is an amenity that they can add to these two people's stay and your stay. It was two women. One of them was kind of pinker of skin than the normal humanoid skin, and had some head ridges, but not like Klingon. That's just, an interesting alien in the background somewhere. So you're being offered all of the amenities that Risa has to offer. If these two people, they're the ones they have to worry about. Everybody else is being soothed over by a news story. So Chaplain Waitley, Quentin Reynolds, Elenis Kendra, and Dr. O'Connor, you are with Kara and Larissa, correct?
Yeah, they were together.
He had just sobered
I was
them up.
still back at the cave.
Yeah, there's some separation here.
But Dr. O'Connor, I was saying.
Yes, I sobered them up using some wake-up juice.
Right, so using wake-up juice. Dr. O'Connor, Kara and Larissa are there reading the news story when you get the communication that Rysian security, that your captain has requested your presence. There is a Rysian security officer waiting to show 4 of you, and all of your names are listed, to the room where they're planning to have him questioned. Kara, you see the news report. You see the funny news report. There has been an unfortunate death today on Risa. There will be, after tonight's concerts on the beach, there will be a Rysian funeral for a Rysian native named Pavyl, who had an unfortunate cessation of fun.
Sorry,
So
it's morbid as fuck.
Waitley literally rolls his eyes at hearing if that's actually how it's worded in game.
No, it's not. It's worded as an unfortunate death during vacation. Rysian native Pavyl, and the obituary probably lays out like his age, things like that.
I mean, body's still warm, and they're already going to have a funeral. What about an autopsy?
Wouldn't he be a bit of a celebrity? Wouldn't this be kind of a big deal?
I think all the bloody holes in him probably give him a very good clue as to how he died. So I don't think an autopsy is real necessary.
It is, though. That's extremely necessary in cases like this.
Right, so the autopsy is necessary, but they are announcing that after a Miranda and the Mayhems, a couple of members of the Sex Phasers, and because that's what Kestra's shirt said in Picard. They're Riker and Troy's daughter. That's what her shirt said. Non-band name. We have It's Coming to Game.
Wait, no, that's different ones coming to game.
We'll talk.
Put in the Sex Phasers.
Yes, they are.
Really?
It's in Klingon. That's what the Klingon band name shirt is. So the four of you, even if you don't all arrive at the same time, are met by a tall, 6'3", built like a linebacker, wearing a toga that unfortunately the back doesn't reach all the way down, so it's more like a sash that's just thrown over his shoulder.
Nice.
He's waiting for all of you, and if one of you arrives first, he's like, we just need to wait for the others. And as soon as all four of you arrive, do you want to say anything to each other? Larissa, having you, Kara, Larissa is with you, and we'll get to that in just a second, because Dr. O'Connor is going to have to leave. Is there a moment that happens there between you guys? Because Kara, you are as knowledgeable now as anyone else, because Eli was right there. So,
well, I guess I immediately head there. I've done my gambling. I'm sad that I don't get to see the sex phasers, but
exactly.
Kara gives Larissa instructions to contact the JAG Corps at Starfleet and sends her back to the ship and heads off to follow Eli in a not drunken but neither sober haze.
So Larissa walks with you, ignoring the direct order to go back to the ship from someone the same rank as her.
To be fair, it was a request, not an order.
I know, but she says, to be fair, Kara, as things go, we don't have an actual JAG officer on board. I'm one of two people that's trained, so
I guess you're in the right place then.
So I'm going to go too, and they're following you, Dr. O'Connor. So in fact, all of you show up, and the guard says, I was only supposed to bring 4. Let me just check that you're all members of the senior staff. That will take just a minute. And he takes out, that little like square thing with circuitry on it, presses it to his ear. And takes it down, and he says, you are all cleared, so follow me, please. And he leads you up to the mezzanine. It's the mezzanine floor, and he leads you to an unmarked door. So it's not like mezzanine room number, whatever. It's just an unmarked door. And inside, I don't know how comfortable Marcus would have gotten, because the guy who had went off when you said water came back with a pitcher of water and a glass full of ice.
He would have just basically laying back in sort of like an office, like if there's a little like side desk.
There certainly is.
So he'd be sitting in that chair, just sort of looking at the ceiling, thinking through the situation.
Okay. Unfortunately for Kendra, her communicator goes off, and it's a priority. And it doesn't. They know that you were heading into, a spot that you don't want your communicators chirping. So they send you. You notice it when you notice that your communicator is blinking. The very top of it, the very top like mountain of the delta is blinking that you have a priority message incoming. So you're just going to have to stand to the side as Risian security introduces themselves and get this message. And there are 2 Risian security officers there. They are, one of them looks like a lifeguard. He really is your like 6'2", 180 pound, like blonde hair, blue eyed, golden disc on his forehead, in a toga. And the other guy has kind of a shorter hair, like just kind of a shorter haircut, it's probably a little more controlled than the others, and his build is a little bit. His build is like an inch shorter, but he's wider than the guy who looks like a lifeguard. So when all of you get there, the one who looks kind of like, Southern California lifeguard is the image I have in my mind. I don't know why.
I can totally see it though.
But he steps forward and he holds out his hand to whoever shakes it, and he says, "I am." How do Risian names go? I'm trying to remember. This calls for Google Foo.
I will shake his hand.
Hey, looking.
I would just go with Dan and it's a simple noise that can be arrived at many different cultures, so I would just go with calling him Dan.
His name is actually Don. That does work. The what I found on a quick Google search was that they have elongated vowels. That was it. His name is Don. So it's Dan. So it sounds like Don, but it's spelled Dan.
I am the Kwisatz Haderach.
And he says, "Welcome. I'm Commander Captain. I am Don. This."
Wait, no, hold on. You gotta give it the Southern Californian, 1990s.
Oh, what is that? What is 19?
I'm Dan. No, I can't do it.
No, it's a late. I'm done.
Probable. Well, this guy's actually the captain of what passes for their guard here, for their security force here. So he actually does kind of have a little bit. I don't have it in me to do a surfer type accent. It's like,
wait, hold on. Do we have anyone else who wants to play this NPC?
Good point. Because all he has to do is introduce himself and say that that your captain requested his officers, some of you, be present during his questioning. We only have a couple of questions. Seems not as cut and dried as we would like, but we'll see what we can find out. And he shakes your hand, Eli, kind of firmly. Does anybody want to give a Southern California with a hint of surfer accent a try and tell that to the group?
Or someone...
Australian might also apply.
That could work. See if Baz were here, right?
I know. Dang it.
Oh well, but that's I just don't have it in me. But it does have, and it's not like a heavy accent either.
Wait! I got a character approach for this one. So okay. I don't want to do too much because I'm probably going to be playing Rossbit here. But okay. Oh, hello there. Or hello there.
No, that's too.
No. I'm taking this in a different direction. I am doing something else with this one because this person, they've got that surfer appearance, but at the same time, their job is to wrangle security for a beach resort. Exactly. So his job isn't going to be that that sort of the Baywatch style. It's going to be customer service.
Maybe. He is still an official security officer.
He's still an official security officer, but his approach is to really let you know, I am your friend. So, Dr. Eli Akana, this is a very unfortunate incident that we have here. I really want to do our best to try to reconcile this situation to the best possible degree for mutual interest between our peoples. So, let me say that I appreciate your expertise in this situation, and I really hope that you may be able to lend it into our investigation as far as policy allows for this resort complex. So, with that, I will let you know that we have not examined any of the particulars of the situation yet, but we are endeavoring to begin this investigation as soon as possible.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I can't say anything as fancily worded as you. I have had a long day.
We all have our strokes in life, and mine has taken me through the rigors of personal discourse to a degree greater than I expect many people are allowed to do. And you must be Chaplain Waitley. He just lunges forward, face beaming, hand outstretched to Waitley.
Waitley kind of raises an eyebrow, looks down at his hand, looks back up at the guy, nods, shakes his hand very begrudgingly, and then immediately puts it back to at attention.
The guy just sort of takes that and just immediately turns to who else is here. So we've got Waitley, Eli, Quentin. Is he in the group?
Yep. Everyone that is
yeah.
And a very tiny Kendra.
And Kendra is standing in the back getting a communication, and I want to tell you what that is because it's happening as this guy is introducing himself. Kendra, you get a communication, and your comm officer on the ship keeps it low volume, and it says he's an admiral, correct? Correct, Duncan? Ross is an admiral?
No, he is a captain.
So the message, the important incoming message is, she calls you Commander. She says, Commander, there is a captain on the way from Starfleet Command assigned, on the way from Starfleet Security assigned. It's complicated, but the request has come through to please hold the captain's questioning until he arrives. And he'll be here later tonight.
Understood.
And so that's it. And so that's the information that you get, Kendra, when this guy is introducing himself to the rest of the group. And
it's also completely possible because of the fact that Kendra is over a foot shorter than everybody else that he does not see her at all if she's behind the side.
That's really awesome, actually.
Wait, how tall is Kendra?
5'3".
Eli's 5'9", so
yeah, a lot of people are taller than Kendra.
Is it 5'11" or 5'9"? I forget. One of the two.
So we've got like a 6'4" dude, a 6'3" dude, a 5'11". Basically she's pretty much going to be completely blocked from view over in the corner getting this communication.
She could sit on Waitley's shoulders.
I sent to Waitley. It's 5'9". So it's what, like a 6-inch difference?
I really like where you took that, Duncan. I like the idea that this guy's mostly right now about customer service. And really, they only have a couple of questions. Questions are, did you do it? And who do you think did it?
So, okay. Let's see.
So while you're doing that, that guy, the other security officer is taking he's got a data pad out and he's recording what's being said. And he basically, this guy just wants that's all he wants to get out of Marcus is, did you do this? No. Who do you think did it?
Let's assume that conversation has already taken place before they got here.
Actually, no. That's
okay.
That is to him, and to their level of they're going to be like, those are our questions. Go ahead and have your time with your senior staff so we can decide where to house you for the time being.
So let's put it this way. So he's going to leave that as an open question for the group as he leaves it, and I have to find a way to say this in a really insufferable customer service voice. So I will let you. I will let you communicate with each other in this most difficult of circumstances, but we will endeavor to figure out whether or not your commanding officer has in any way some responsibility in this affair and how that may have taken place. But we want you to know that however the circumstances lay out, we want to know what lays behind this unfortunate situation. So for the time being, we will let you discuss with each other what has happened, and if you have any ideas, certainly let us know what is happening, although we will, of course, endeavor to independently verify any information brought to our attention. So with that, we'll let you enjoy this fine residence. If you need anything at all, we are simply a buzz away, and we hope you enjoy your stay here on Risa.
Awesome. The one would hand off his datapad to would hand off his datapad to Don, and Don would take it and go begin a Risian investigation into murder. I'm not thinking that they're completely inept, but he's got work to do just like all of you do, and now all of you are in a room together with a Risian security officer posted right outside the door.
I don't think you
Right,
did.
so
Oh, sorry.
I'm guessing you didn't do it, huh, Captain?
I have no recollection of what happened that night, but I think it's exceedingly unlikely that I stabbed someone in the middle of Risa for no apparent reason whatsoever.
Without
Agreed.
being seen, and then burying the body in plain sight, apparently.
It's actually a good question of why anybody would bother to kill this guy. It didn't seem like anybody disliked him.
Well, that's rather the point, I think. So, as far as we're concerned here, we're going to approach the situation potentially being involved with why we're here in the first place. In general, I don't think that this would be a coincidence. This is a very unusual situation, and we've been called here to ensure security for a highly prized asset, specifically those ships.
Oh,
So,
I got one of those. I want it.
We'll talk about that later.
Kara giggles. Well, at least one of them is safe.
Larissa is standing back behind everyone, and remember, Larissa is pretty tall. She's a Zindi reptilian. She's just she kind of lets out a little like hiss of amusement at that, at Eli saying, yeah, I got one of those. I won it." She's like,
Well, first things first. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think you're gonna like serve a death sentence or life in prison or anything like that, because they can't. Can they prove beyond a reasonable doubt if you did this or not? That is the key thing here.
Larissa says,
Regardless,
Larissa says, "If I may, Commander, as I believe I may have the most legal training of anyone on board, except for perhaps Chief Dewey. But they have no way to tie the captain to the murder when his location was verifiably within that bar. All commercial property on Risa is monitored 24 hours a day.
It'll take them.
Kara looks over at Larissa. Well, wait. If they could tell that Graves was here the whole time, what's the point in trying to frame him for the murder? Isn't it kind of obvious then that he didn't do it?
It'll take time to prove that point. In the meantime, we're occupied trying to prove my innocence rather than taking care of whatever plot is behind an attempt to either steal those ships or the technology behind them.
Larissa says, if I may, if Dr. O'Connor just won one in some sort of, I'm assuming, high-stakes gambling endeavor, and I cannot believe that whatever we do not know that we're here to protect has anything to do with the ships, actually. But that's just my best instinct.
Kara leans over to Larissa. Are you sure that wasn't a low-stakes game?
She seems a little when Kara like gives her like a little bit, sure that wasn't a low stakes game. You can tell that Larissa is nervous about the first time as a senior officer making her opinion on like what to do known.
Kara pats her on the back. Hey, you're doing good. You know more about this than I do.
She's looking at Kendra and Marcus at this point.
I can't help but think that that cave that we discovered has something to do with this whole situation. After all, it seems to be connected to Pavyl, and maybe he stumbled upon something he shouldn't have.
Cave?
Yes, we found this cave. It's kind of a long story. We were looking for Pavyl ourselves when we stumbled upon this cave with all these suspicious footprints, and it's obviously been used for something. We're not quite sure what, but something's not right about it.
Oh, and there were EPOs.
There were son of a bitch.
Larissa's eyes kind of see what Captain Waitley just did, putting in chat in game time chat. That's that blinking is what Larissa's eyes do. It's like, what? Oh, and there were EPOs? What?
You know,
like
for
son
such
of a bitch was vocal. That was in character.
For such small, decidedly undangerous creatures, those EPOs sure do cause us to do a lot of cursing.
It's not the EPOs, it's the people behind the EPOs.
Well, if I have to catch them one more time, I won't be happy.
You can probably delegate that one to Lieutenant Tardigrade. He's been a little upset since our last encounter with EPOs. But back to the point at hand, though. So we've got a few things to look into, and I don't want you guys spending a little too much time looking into the murder unless you feel that it's directly connected to whatever is ultimately going on here. So,
did I mention there were also traces of Orions with the EPOs?
I'm not surprised at that at this point.
I
should also let you know. I should also let you know that during my time in the bar yesterday, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but I was talking with an Orion through that time. Great conversationalist, as in skilled in that type of negotiation. So I suspect a little bit of training in that respect from pretty high up. But there is an Orion on the scene of the planet that is fairly close to the situation at hand. So if you encounter Orion, specifically a blonde-haired woman, take some precaution, but also maybe do a little bit of investigation of what she's doing here and if she has any other connections to the events going on the planet.
Noted.
Marissa is nodding. She was in the Delta Volanus cluster with you too. She's not happy with those Orions either.
So, hold on a second. If I may.
Yes?
Elenis and Quentin,
Yes.
why were you going to meet this murder suspect or murder victim in a cave out of curiosity? I feel like that's important. Just you buy in some like mind-altering substances that I highly recommend you not do.
There's actually a hide and seek game here at the resort that he is in charge of.
Coordinates.
When Elena says is in charge of, Larissa, without meaning to, says was. And she catches herself after she says that, and she zips it quick. She's like, "Oh my god, I just said that."
Did we actually verify that, or did the Risa security team verify that the blood on Graves' hands belongs to Pavyl?
Oh, this is less than an hour later.
So, Dr. Eli, would you
Dr.
like
O'Connor.
Dr. O'Connor, would you like to verify that this is indeed his blood?
Well, first things first, I am going to take a sample, so let's hope it's not too contaminated. Is Rizian blood even red? I start, taking a...
Blood even red.
So, just to let you guys know, at this point, Graves would have washed his hands except for a certain spot. So he's kept some. He kept some of the blood on his hands just in case. So,
is there a replicator nearby?
Yes. And you guys also have, when you check the communication in the room, Marcus, Rising Security is keeping you updated on what their progress is. Blood on the murder weapon is currently undergoing genetic sequence, and they will let you know the results.
Meanwhile,
All right.
Waitley's just looking at his tricorder, looking at all the results he's getting, and keep.
I'm gonna replicate a test sample just so we have a physical thing. So just in case somebody
Okay.
tries to alter it, I'm taking a physical sample. Then I'm gonna scan with my tricorder.
Okay. You get it from Rising Security and from your tricorders at about the same time. There's none of Marcus's. There's none of Captain Graves' blood in the sample. There is Isian blood, which is a perfect match for the murder victim, Pavyl. And there is also Nausicaan blood.
Now this is interesting.
That's the genetic sampling of the blood found on the murder weapon, and you get the same results from the blood that was probably, you're guessing, poured or something. Your tricorder, they will make one roll tonight for the group. It'll be a tricorder roll. Without Baz, I'm not 100% certain, but I think people can assist with this since you all are standing there with tricorders. Where's the doc? There's the doc. Give me a reason science, which gives you a 15 is your number, is your target, and trauma surgery. I'm going to let it apply because I want to give you a good chance. Your target is 15 and your critical occurs on 4s. You currently have 2 dice. You guys haven't built any momentum at this point yet.
Wait, am I doing the roll?
Yes.
I think advanced medical research might also apply, but
This is the trauma.
Okay.
One or the it only gives you the one benefit when one of your focuses applies.
I know. I'm just thinking. So we're scanning for which exactly? I'm just double checking.
It's just, and anybody else with a tricorder can roll 1 die. One person with a tricorder can roll 1 die to assist.
I was going to ask, can we assist on this?
I forget. Okay, there we go. And then 2d20, you said.
Yep. And then another person with if another person with the tricorder assists, you can determine 1 success. And does anyone else?
Hold on a second. We didn't put in the range. So what's the range?
Oh, okay. Your what did you roll? What was your number that you rolled? A 16.
I mean, I haven't rolled yet. You said it was control in science, or?
Oh, that was cast. Sorry, that was cast. That I don't think that hits your science and your reason science, does it? I'm not going to pop over to the sheet because I want to leave us at a good cliffhanger for
14,
where we're going to pick
14.
up. Yep. Yeah, the target number for
Oh shit.
Nick. Whoa! Okay, so these are the pieces of information you get. The first piece of information that you get is The two types of blood that are present are Nausicaan and Rysian. The Rysian is a perfect match for Pavyl. The next step of Rysian security is running the Nausicaan blood in intergalactic databases. They suggest that Starfleet would have a far faster time than they will have doing that. That's what you're getting. They're sending. They're keeping you updated on what they're doing, Marcus. They are being completely transparent. And with that information, you not only determine what the type of blood is, but you are 100% certain that the murder weapon is not the knife that was found with Captain Graves.
Well, this hit job just seems to get more and more transparent every moment.
This was a sloppy job, that's all I gotta say.
Maybe. You don't know. You now have a couple of ideas in the air. Maybe the intelligence resource you're here to protect is the technology being used in these new Corvettes the Rysians are producing. Maybe it's something else.
Maybe it was Pavyl and we've done a terrible job.
So
great,
as
right?
soon as Whately hears Nausicaan,
and for the final scene of tonight, I'm imagining Tardigrade is probably a little depressed. Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I posted in chat earlier that he's over at the beach, just looking into the sunset.
Okay.
Or whatever time it is, but basically just looking at the ocean, just by himself, just sitting there.
That's so we saw a brief moment of that then during this hour-long episode, and he's sitting on the beach watching. It's not the sun now. The sun is down, but it's reflecting up off of the beautiful Rysian sky, creating like a kaleidoscope of like orange and yellow and even a little bit of red that stretches into like the very end spectrum of it, and it's just a really beautiful sunset that unfortunately Tardigrade is not enjoying. But even though he's not necessarily paying attention to it, he would notice that the band changes and the music goes from kind of what I described last week as something most people, it's classical, it's rock and roll. Which is called, just classical, right? And the music changes from that to something a little more screamy. You're not sure exactly, he wouldn't be sure what's going on over at that huge thing going on at the beach as it starts to get darker. And how good is Tardigrade at detecting things that try to sneak up on him?
Probably very good, because he likes to sneak up on other things.
Right. So let's have a look and we'll make two rolls, and the other roll will be Lieutenant Tardigrade making insight security. 13 is the number, but none of the focuses apply. 13 is your target.
I totally have the vernacular wrong, don't I?
Maybe.
It's an apostrophe. Or not apostrophe, exclamation mark, that's it. No. Instead of the slash, it's exclamation point 2, then D20.
There we go.
Boom. Where did it happen? In general?
Yes, and
yeah.
there's 3, and you forgot to put the target number, I just realized.
That's okay. I can read it. You have one success, which is all that Tardigrade needed to notice him as he makes himself visible sitting down next to you is a gray He's a gray humanoid with a bony face, and I wouldn't exactly call them scales. I would call them more skin bumps, etc., etc. He's a Jem'Hadar. He is a Jem'Hadar wearing speedos.
Oh no!
Wearing a speedo bathing suit, and he sits down next to Tardigrade and he says, "Are you a member of the crew of the USS Reliant?" Because Lieutenant Tardigrade has a hard time taking off his stripe, doesn't he? Because it's like part of his shell.
Yeah, he is painted with the Starfleet. Well, he also has a Starfleet uniform as well.
So this guy sits down right next to him, and he makes you aware of him so that he doesn't startle you. He lets you see him sitting down, and he definitely makes sure there's no one else. Tardigrade would see him, make sure there's no one else around, and he would say, "Are you a member of the crew of the USS Reliant?"
Lieutenant Tardigrade looks up at the Jem'Hadar, notices that he's got a speedo, and then immediately burrows into the sand.
Jem'Hadar. And actually, then the episode would end with a Jem'Hadar sitting on the beach, looking to where Lieutenant Tardigrade just burrowed into the sand, going, "This is going to be so much more difficult than Miranda said."
Lieutenant Tardigrade then turns around and then sort of burrows his way back up, and then his head pokes out, and he's just sort of there, and then he growls a little bit and then goes back in the sand.
And that would be where we're cutting it.